Welcome to the Behind the Region podcast from the South Bend Regional Chamber, sponsored by Hayes Design Co., where they believe every sign, every design, and every detail tells a story. That's why their mission is simple: create distinctive, enduring brand experiences that people remember and trust. From bold storefronts to custom signage and architectural branding, their team combines unmatched design and true craftsmanship to help businesses stand out and communities thrive. When you want your brand to make a lasting impression, choose Hayes Design Co., where vision becomes visible. Now here are your hosts, Chamber President and CEO Jeff Ray, and Director of Member Relations, Mark McGill.
Jeff Ray, we are back for another edition of the Behind the Region podcast. It has a different feel and a different look.
It sure
this
does.
week.
Exciting. First, we appreciate our listeners for so long sticking with us, the great guests that we've had on the show. But we're going video now, and thanks to our partners at Sinclair and WSJV, we have a chance to do our audio favorites. They'll still be able to listen to us, but those that have been anxious to see us on video now will get a chance to see us. And
which is your mom. I think your mom was it.
I think that might be it, but we'll see. Hopefully one or two other people will watch. But thanks to the Sinclair team for teaming up with us and working on this. And like any video show, especially as you're launching, you need a big star on to sort of help get things going. So we went out and recruited one of the big stars to join us today. So today with us, Dr. Dee McDonald. Dee is the president over at Bethel University here in Mishawaka. Dee, welcome. We're glad to have you here.
Thanks. So glad to be here and excited to just have a conversation, talk about leadership and life and the region. Love this place. Grew up here as well, so this is home.
We love it. We've got to know Dee a little bit over the last during his tenure at Bethel, and he's a phenomenal leader here in our community. We're anxious for you to get to know him better if you haven't got a chance to know him. So get to know him first. So Dee, let's start, and we'll get into you personally for a second. But just as a reminder, if you were meeting a stranger on the street and telling them a little bit about Bethel University and what it is, tell us about it.
Bethel University started in 1947, and a long time ago, 79 years now. But the best thing I love about Bethel is they're still true to their mission since 1947. So it didn't just start and then they evolved into this behemoth or this, this different thing. Like, they've actually been who they say they are. And so it's a great Christian college. The people are amazing. We just had faculty retire over the weekend after 39 years serving at Bethel. And that's just, you look at story after story of people that are there that have given their lives to the mission. It's a great place. We're on mission. We are who we say we are. And there's a lot of incredible programs too. That's the beautiful part. You can come there and you can get anywhere in the world from Bethel University. Not every college can say that. The other part is, a lot of our graduates, a majority of our graduates actually stay in the area. So they want to be here in the South Bend, Elkhart regional area, and they find jobs, they find great jobs, and employers love them. So it's a great partnership, even with the South Bend area too. So but I love Bethel. I love being there, and the people are phenomenal, and it gets me out of bed every morning.
It takes me back to being a kid. My first experiences growing up here were on campus, coming to watch a Bethel basketball game, which, for example, has a strong athletic history. Remember coming to basketball camp. I remember Coach Lightfoot telling me to focus on something besides basketball. But all kinds of great memories.
And play both ends of the court, not just offense, right?
That is true. But we'll get into a little bit more talking about that stuff. Appreciate you being here today and all that Bethel does in the community. We certainly bump into Bethel graduates everywhere we go.
Yeah. So you took over the presidency during a pretty large season of transition at Bethel, right? A lot of changes. What first drew you to that opportunity?
Presidencies don't come open that often. And so when Bethel came open, I actually heard about it from another president in the Crossroads League. I was on the phone with him. He said, "Oh yeah, Barb just told us that she's going to be retiring." And I said, "What? You got to be kidding me!" And my exact words were, "Bethel would be a dream. That's the dream job. It's close to where we grew up. It's an area that we know, that we love. It's a missionally faithful school. I mean, all the boxes are checked there." And so when it came open, it was like, well, yeah, we gotta do that. My wife, until probably last year when this process started, had said, we're never moving back to Indiana. We're never living close to where we grew up. Like, this is not an option. She wants to go warm and south, right?
Yeah, that's not here.
Yes. I told her, 6 to 8 months of the year, I think it is. I think this is perfect. So, but yeah, when it opened, it was like, we've really got to see if this is what God has for us. And as the kind of obstacles began to clear, it moved along pretty quickly, and here we are today.
Great. Dee, talk a little bit about just sort of the journey to presidency. So, because you have a higher ed education, you've been at a couple of institutions. Help us understand the path that led you to Bethel.
Yeah. So I worked at my alma mater for 10 years afterwards, and most of my career has been in enrollment and marketing, which is a bit of a rarity for presidents, although it's becoming more normal because enrollment is so tied to revenue and so tied to thriving institutions. It's becoming more of a quality they're looking for, at least people that are versed in it. And so as I went through my career, spent 10 years at my alma mater, was at another institution, been at 4 other institutions, both on the traditional enrollment and marketing and financial aid side, and then did a lot of work down in Florida at another institution for 5 years on the graduate side. And that was very different, but it taught me a lot about sort of innovation, entrepreneurial leadership, with trying to figure out, what's going well, how do we really lean into that? What do we need to develop? What products do we need to bring to market? What is the market requiring, even in some ways? So, but very, I would say, entrepreneurial leadership background, and just trying to figure out, how do we grow, and how do we deliver what the market is really asking for? And so I think that does help in higher ed right now, because that's what it's about, right? It's about how do we drive enrollment and revenue and momentum. I really view my role as I'm the keeper and builder of momentum. And that's really important because you can lose it really quick, but it's really hard to gain. And once you get it, you got to just fight for it every day. And so that's what we're trying to do, and we're actually doing some incredible things right now at Bethel with that. But yeah, that's been my career, is figure out, like, how do we grow? How do we grow? How do we sustain? How do we keep growing? How do we, kind of carve out new paths and opportunities? I served under a president when I was in Florida that talked about growth curves, and because there's a natural life cycle in every growth curve. And so if you think about them as a bell, right? They go up, they're going well, and then they're going to gradually decline and maybe go away. Well, as you have those going up, you need probably 5 to 6 of those that are driving revenue and growth. More is great, of course, but 5 or 6 to get to be really healthy. And then you need, as some are declining, you need other ones ramping up. And so that idea that we're always growing, we're always thinking about what's next, is something that a lot of schools don't right now. And there's a lot of schools that are maybe in survival mode, or that are thinking, how do we get to tomorrow, or how do we maybe just do what we do better, which are good things and necessary things. But we're trying to think about, what is a year, 2 years, 5 years down the road, and how do we serve a useful purpose and be a good partner in the South Bend, Elkhart regional area? Like, what do employers want? We talked about, one of the guys this morning talked about his daughter went to Bethel and got an elementary education degree. I'm like, our education majors are amazing. We have teachers all over the area that are just doing incredible things, and they don't just teach, they care deeply. They care for the whole student and the whole young man or young woman. And I think that makes a difference. And that's really what stands out about Bethel. So my journey has been really about people and figuring out, how do I communicate with people? How do I help people grow and then go? But really good opportunity here, and I'm thankful for the 20 years that have brought me to this, because I've made a lot of mistakes, as we all have.
Well,
maybe not more. Yeah, for sure. But as you go through that, I think if you're a lifelong learner and you're always looking in the mirror first, And then as you go about what you're doing, if you really try to serve people and do right by them and take care of them, which sometimes means you have difficult conversations or necessary endings, but if you're doing that, I think I think good things follow. I think favor follows those steps. So that's really what I've tried to do in my leadership, and I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve because I want to be an authentic leader. I aspire to be an authentic leader. You can ask the people that I lead or that have worked with me or whatever if I'm really an authentic leader, because if you say it, that doesn't really mean anything. But that's what I aspire to be, and I think transformation follows that too.
Has your Indiana upbringing, how's that shaped your leadership and how you do things?
Yeah. The way I was brought up, so I'm a pastor's kid. So I grew up, my dad pastored the same church for 35 years in LaPorte, Indiana. So right down the road. Yep. And that was really one of the pieces that taught me what's it like to get up and just be faithful every day. Just love people, get up, figure out how do I move the needle, how do I win every day, how do I get 1% better, how do I just do what I'm called to do. And so with that, I had a great example growing up. But I also grew up in the LaPorte community. I was a baseball player, and so you really learned the value of hard work early. And that was one of the pieces of LaPorte baseball growing up, very successful program. But it was, we were willing to work hard. We were willing to work harder, pay attention to the details, and we were going to do all the little things that mattered better than the team we were playing. And that's really what led to us winning. And so I learned the value of hard work, but also paying attention to details and just finding a way to, how do we win? How do we win today, right? Because if you win every day, then you win years, then you win over time, then you get to places that you couldn't have otherwise. So hardworking, and I would say just paying attention to the details and the little things that you notice, that why people do what they do, like hanging around successful people. How do you build a culture of winning and growth and that mentality? Because it's not necessarily natural. Everybody wants to win. Not many people want to pay the price.
Right.
And you hear that all through sports. But I think it's true in business. It's true in universities. It's true across the board. And so I just really value that. And I think there's a lot of mentality there that goes with that. So my upbringing was really important. I would say critical. I was also a catcher, which tells you a lot about me. I'm willing to endure massive amounts of pain.
Talk about putting the work in.
Yes. So yeah, there's a lot of just mental toughness and the ability to just push past what your mind or your body you think is telling you, to be able to achieve the goals that you feel like you want. And I just had a really unique experience that's kind of maybe created who I am. And there's a lot of good and bad that comes with that, so it's not all perfect, right? But I think the formation of my leadership is built a lot around sports, probably, and then even coaching. And how do I coach and lead people? So I take a coaching approach in a lot of ways to leadership. Of how do I get them to be better every day? How do we maximize the gifts and talents and skills that they have? So more of a strengths-based approach and more of a positive approach. And then how do we have hard conversations too? I think good coaches are really good at that, where they have conversations with every person in a way that they understand and they relate to, not just one message out to everybody and it's sort of the shotgun approach, right? So I've taken a lot from coaching. That's what I wanted to be before I figured out that I was supposed to be a president a few years ago. So yeah, I definitely lean into that. But this area and LaPorte and my family and school and even baseball has really formed who I am, and I'm really thankful for that.
Can you still hit a curveball?
Absolutely.
All right. Hey, all right. I love it. So you grew up in the Chicago neighborhood here at LaPorte, Cubs or Sox?
So I grew up when you could like both.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was a time.
The Silverhawks were Sox.
Yeah, sure.
And so you could come over and watch them. it was more economical to be able to go
Right.
watch the White Sox.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
We would do like Wheaties boxes and stuff. So we get tickets, in like the last row where it takes you're like 3-inning delay from when you actually see the game. And then every now and then somebody would bless us with tickets to the Cubs game or something like that. But so I grew up liking both. My brother and I played backyard baseball every day during the summer against each other. He was the Cubs because he liked them more, which is
right.
fine.
Sure.
And I was the Sox. And we would replicate the stances of the batters. It was pitcher's hand out, so it was one-on-one. And we just had a blast. And then it got to a point where you had to pick one because there was this arch rivalry here, which is good.
It is fun.
So I am a Cubs fan now. And then my buddy from college, Ben Zobrist, played for the Cubs for a few years as well.
Wow.
So that kind of sealed the fate, really.
good.
Yeah, so you got to go Cubs.
So did your brother beat you every game, being the Cubs and you were the White Sox? Did you lose every single game?
The White Sox were really, really good in my backyard.
Nice, there you go.
Won a lot of World Series.
Yeah, perfect. So, Dee, let's get back to, I love this that you mentioned earlier that your students stay here.
Yeah.
And so our audience is employers, right? The people that are, and you're preparing them for success in life and in careers and such. Speak a little bit to that. You mentioned like teaching is a really strong thing. Talk about some of the other majors, but also help our employers understand what they're getting when they're hiring a Bethel graduate.
Yeah. Well, we talk about holistic education, right? So we don't just educate the mind, which is a factor, but we want to educate the heart and the soul and the mentality of that we're not just going into a career, that they've been given gifts by God to use for the betterment of humanity and to impact eternity. And so it's not just a job when we talk about that. Like you can go anywhere and get a job, right? But we do have some phenomenal programs, and I think part of that is that it goes really well together. So as students are talking about, what am I majoring in, or what am I called to do? That's what we really want to do through college. Is we want to talk about what are you called to do, not just what do I like to do, right? There will be days where you don't like to do that, but if there's a calling, that's much more powerful than just like, oh, I like to do this, I'm good at it. There will be a time where you're not as good at it, or you don't like doing it, and so a calling is just significantly more powerful because that's beyond you. And so we really talk about calling at Bethel, and then we feel like once you're called, then it's your job to go every day. And although you're not we do educate ministers and missionaries and pastors, but we really feel like every student, whether they're going into the hospital, whether they're going into the boardroom, whether they're going into a classroom, wherever they might be going, that's their mission field. And those are the people that they bring the light of Christ to. And so we talk about that a lot. Obviously, we have chapel. It's required to go to chapel, which I like, because when I was in college, if it wasn't required, I wouldn't have gone.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
English class was that way for me.
Right. Yes.
Math.
So some of our majors are just phenomenal. Like I look at our nursing majors, we have a 100% pass rate on the nursing boards for the last 5 years. That's unheard of. 100% of anything doesn't happen, right?
Right.
So when you see we really get our students, they're not just prepared. Then they also have their pick of multiple jobs. Then they also are going in and they're like, man, these employers are like, we want more Bethel grads. I mean, there's specific companies in the area. I think of First Source. I think of Patrick. I think of some different businesses that are like, oh man, like we love Bethel grads. I think South Bend Community School Corporation, right? We're just talking about that. Yep. Beacon Hospital. Like they're like, we love them because we know they come in with both soft skills, but then high character and integrity. Mm-hmm. So we know what we're getting. It's not just like, well, we'll see how this goes. It's like this is a solid, high-level person that is going to lead and love and care about the people that are around them. And I think that's what makes a difference about Bethel. And that's nothing new. It's what they've been doing since 1947. But education is another strong one. So we have a CALP certification. It's the first undergraduate program in America to offer this, and it's It's a learning practitioner piece. So it's for mostly working with like dyslexic or learning disability students, but it's actually a certification that our students take into the classroom and professional life with them. And it's the first undergrad to offer it and to be actually accredited and certified in it. That's a huge deal, and it took a lot of work, first of all.
Sure.
But nursing, and then obviously I mentioned business, we've got education. One of our larger majors that a lot of people don't know about is actually exercise science and that kinesiology. We do have a good chunk of athletes on our campus. You mentioned Bethel basketball before. Right. Great heritage of excellence in athletics. And so a lot of athletes will lean into more of the athletic side. And they'll want to talk about, how does the body move, or how do I continue growing, or how do I teach this, and even you can look into that with, OT, PT, med school, different pieces like that if you want to go that direction. So you can definitely get very scientific or clinical with that quickly. But it's a really, really strong program. We have our own performance lab at Bethel. We have a lot of opportunities really at our fingertips too. And then being in this area. Yep. You see the opportunities that are just booming, the investments that are going in, and the jobs that are just really at their fingertips. And the big piece is internships. Mm-hmm. So internships, like we want Bethel students in internships left and right, and we've got to work on improving that more and more and more, because realistically, and employers know this, that's a job interview.
Yep. Sure.
You get 3 months over a summer or 6 months over a semester. You get to see the good, the bad, the ugly, and you're like, do I want to hire that person or not? Yeah. And we hear over and over and over, I got an internship and they offered me a job. Right? Yeah. It's like 90%. Every time I hear an internship, every now and then I'll hear about like, yeah, it didn't go well. I'm like, okay, maybe you're not called to that. Maybe you don't want to do that, right? Or you thought you were. But yeah, internships are huge. And so we really want to partner well, because we want to deliver what employers want. And we're willing to have that conversation and listen. That's another big piece about our education offerings. No matter what major, is we want to deliver to our community, to society, and then to the world. Not just do a job, but we want to actually impact and make society and the world better for Bethel and for our graduates being out there and serving.
You've mentioned dreaming big for Bethel. What are those big dreams? What are your dreams for Bethel?
There are days where it seems like any dream is big, where you're dealing with budgets and you're trying to figure out, man, how do we do this and that, and make the best of bad decisions, of all bad options, right? My dreams for Bethel are to get it back to thriving. There were some times where enrollment was good, and athletics were good, and academics were good, and we had great people that were embedded in the community. And I think we're right on the cusp of that again. We've done a really great job of making sure that we're aligned well, and that we've got the right people in the right seats. And God is bringing us incredibly talented, way more talented than me, which is what you want, right? If I'm the top, if I'm the lid, we're in trouble, right? Because I may not even be good at a podcast here. We'll see, right?
I think it's going just fine.
Oh, good. But I want to see Bethel thrive, and so that's multiple levels, right? That's missionally, making sure that we're accomplishing the mission that we set out to accomplish when we began. That's financially, that we're good stewards of what we have, that we can take care of our campus. More than 70 acres, and we've had it since 1947. So there's some deferred maintenance here and there. There's roads to pave, which nobody wants to fund and pay for.
Put their name on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But really, I think thriving also means taking really good care of our people, and that's hard to do nowadays. We've got insurance benefits, you've got retirement, you've got costs and inflation that's just skyrocketing left and right. Everything costs more. And so as we're looking at that, we're trying to do our best to figure out, how do we create a plan to take care of our people really well? And they've served and they give, but then how do we return that as an organization? Because it should be symbiotic. It shouldn't just be that the employees and the people of the organization give and give and give and give. That's great. But has the organization loved me back? And have they taken care of me? And I take that responsibility incredibly seriously. And we're in a zone right now, or a season where we haven't been able to do that, and so we're trying to figure out how do we do that going forward and really care for our people. So thriving is a lot of different ways. I think I'd love to win in some national championships. Let's go kick it back to the Lightfoot era and really have strong athletic programs, because I think that impacts our community too. Having great teams to come watch and play and root for. I mean, we see it down the street, at Notre Dame. We see it obviously, downstate with Indiana football this last year as well. People just want to be part of something that's winning and that has momentum and is going somewhere. And I think for me, that's where I want Bethel to be. Is how can we begin to build momentum, and how can the community jump on board too and help us with that, and then let's have a great ride. Let's roll down the highway for the next 15, 20, 25 years. I want to be here at Bethel for the rest of my career. That's the plan. And so this isn't just like, hey, come in, let's put some lipstick on a pig, let's do this, let's do that, like some fancy footwork or whatever. I want to build a healthy, thriving institution so that whenever I retire, step away, whatever, that it's I was faithful to what I was called to do, and I left it better than I found it. And so that's the goal. But thriving is, I think it's closer than we think, but not as far away as it feels a lot of days, right?
Well, and the fact that this is your career, right? This is the end for you. I mean, that really helps with you building things, right? Your staff, it's easier for them to buy in, because you're gonna be here in 2 years. You're gonna be here in 5 years. The students, the same thing. They're not gonna come in and get to know you, and you're gone in 18 months. I mean, I think that's a real feather in the cap, and something that's really important.
Yeah, as we talked about this, and I met with Dr. Belfi, who retired, and I came in to follow, and she did an amazing job. She said she built a bridge. I say she built a ramp, because I feel like we got elevation really quickly, and I'm incredibly thankful to her and all the leaders that have come before that we stand on the shoulders of right now. But as I think about that, I really want to just make sure that we keep the progress going. That it's not just like, hey, we had a good year or we had a good 2 years, but we're building something that's sustainable. And I said that to Barb for the first time. I had never said that to anybody else. Even in the presidential interviews and things like that, they're like, what's your plan? Or is, like Lou Holtz. I remember Dave Engbrecht. He asked me, hey, Lou Holtz always had in his contract, if Notre Dame calls, I'm gone. Doesn't matter where I'm at, right?
Right.
And he's like, where's your Notre Dame? Where's that one school? And I was like, I don't think I have one.
I'm here.
I don't, it's always been the people we've known at Bethel, the students, the friends that we've known that have attended, the people in the area, it's always been that would be a dream. And so I don't just say that, we're actually living out something that we never thought was possible, because it was too good. It was too right. It was too on the money. You're like, that'll never happen. That's too perfect, right? It'd be like playing for the Cubs growing up. You're like, that's a dream. It's absolutely unattainable. It'll never. I'll probably end up with the Yankees or those scumbag Dodgers or something like that.
I don't want to go there.
Cardinals.
Cardinals. So, Dee, as we get closer to our end here, so you've been here a little bit. You're the new guy on campus. You get a chance to meet and experience a lot of things. What's a favorite memory, a favorite group that you've got to connect with, a favorite place, a favorite activity happens on campus? Mm-hmm. What are some of those that have stuck out about your first experiences here on campus?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I think it almost always involves the students though, and so I think about the opportunity I get to speak in chapel a couple times a year. That's really meaningful to me. I take that really seriously. There's a lot of preparation and work that goes into that. I think about some of our athletic teams that we've had a chance to celebrate with. One of the most special things I get to do is pray with teams after games. And I don't do it with every team, but if a coach invites me, and we try to go to every athletic game that we could possibly be at. So we're at basketball games yelling at the refs. We're at at soccer games, and I don't know how to yell at the refs there, but I'm standing there supporting. It's not my bang zone.
You're yelling to yourself at the refs.
Yeah. So I'm like, I feel like that should have been something. Come on. But yeah, getting a chance to, to circle up and pray with the guys after soccer games, getting a chance to sometimes even do meals with some of our teams. We'll have some of the teams over for a meal and just share that with them and ask them their stories. But getting a chance to really let the students know we care about them is what really is meaningful to me. And then I think about just honoring some of our faculty and our staff. Yeah. So some of those, we just had one on Tuesday, the opportunity to say thank you and to maybe have a meal together and to just genuinely say, we really appreciate what you do, and it makes such a huge difference in who we are and the purpose that we serve.
Well, we appreciate you being here today. Thank you. Nice job. Appreciate you. Dee McDonald, President, Bethel University. Thank you for watching the Behind the Region podcast, and maybe they'll have us back next week.
I hope so. Went well.
It's good to see you, Dee.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the Behind the Region podcast from the South Bend Regional Chamber, sponsored by Hayes Design Co.